think we're live. There we go. Awesome. Hello, everyone. Namaskar. My name is Carrie. Welcome to Mama Magnolia's weekly live stream series, Tunesday. I'm just so excited to be doing this live stream tonight, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Carrie, trumpet player and singer in Mama Magnolia. But today I'm showing you a little bit about my life as a Kathak dancer. So I'm really excited to kind of be merging my two worlds, my dance life and my music life, and just so excited to share this with you all. So thanks again for tuning in. Okay, well, so I want to first give you all an understanding of what Kathak is. I couldn't think of a better way to do it than to just dance something for you right off the bat instead of talking on and on. So I'm going to go ahead and perform an excerpt from Malkon's Tarana for you. And just a little bit of context, a Tarana is a piece or a category of piece in the Kathak repertoire. It's known to be high energy, high speed. It uses a couple different aspects of Hindustani classical music. It starts with an asthai, which is like a main melody or a cadence, and it comes back to that repeating melody. And then it also has an antara, a higher portion, kind of different segments sprinkled around, but always coming back to the same kind of catchphrase, catch melody. And Malkon's Tarana is based upon the rag Malkons, a 5-note rag. That's the kons part of Malkons, 5 notes. And it uses bowls or syllables in part that describe the peacock, the bird of India. So in this piece you'll hear the bowls tari tarita, kuku tarita, naga tarita, tunga nunga. And those bowls accompanied with the hand movements show the big plume of feathers of the peacock. So I hope you enjoy Malkon's Tarana. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was an excerpt of Malcolm Strana. And I love this piece because it really demonstrates most of the fundamental aspects of Kathak dance, all in, 3.5 short minutes. You see the tayari, the physical readiness and ability of the dancer. You see the laikari, which is the rhythmic facility and complexity in this art form. You also see the khubsurti, the beauty of the movements, and nazakat, the subtlety and refinement. The one thing that's missing for the most part is abhinaya. This is character portrayal through storytelling, but we're going to leave that for a different live stream event, all on its own. So this is kind of just a crash course introduction into the art of Kathak dance. And hopefully, as you could see and hear, this art form is just so musical. And that's really what drew me to it from the very beginning. I started dancing Kathak in 2013. I took Dr. Sarah Morelli's North Indian Classical Ensemble, and I just was head over heels for the art form pretty much instantly. I was attending DU, getting my Bachelor's of Music in Classical Trumpet Performance, and I just saw so many similarities between studying Western classical art and Indian classical art, and loved the physical aspect of it. I danced as a kid and had really been missing it, and kind of Kathak just filled that gap in my life. And so I started in Sarah G's class, as we call her, as her teacher, and it just kind of kept going. And I was so grateful that she brought me and a handful of other students to California to meet her Guruji, Pandit Chitresh Das, and dance in an intensive with the greater Kathak community of California. So I got to meet Pandit Chitresh Das, and it was a life-changing experience. He's really credited for bringing Kathak to the US. He came in 1970, and he really came with a mission to share Kathak with the West and share it with the world. He wanted for there to be a Kathak school on every corner, just like ballet, and for Kathak to, fill the performance halls as well. So I've been really honored to kind of be a part of carrying on his legacy with Sarah G and with her dance sisters. They all studied with Guruji for many, many years, upwards of 20 years, in the Guru Shishya Parampara, the traditional teacher-student tradition, and really have worked together to promote this art form. So my day job and my night and weekend job, along with Mama Magnolia, along with playing music, is with the Leela Institute of Kathak, with Sarah Morelli, Reena Mehta, Rachna Navas, and Sevi Lee. They have started this amazing conglomerate of organizations, Leela Institute of Kathak, which houses the Leela Dance Collective, our internationally touring professional dance company, Leela Academy, which is all of our educational programming. So if you like what you see tonight and you want to try a class, we're all online because of COVID, so don't be shy. And also the Leela Foundation, which is our effort to create financial stability for artists for years to come, the very needed financial stability for this art form to survive. So just a little backstory about me and how I got started. So tonight, I really want to dive into one particular aspect of Kathak that I adore, called Kathak Yoga. And Kathak Yoga was pioneered by Pandit Chitresh Das. He came to the US, and at first he didn't really have many people to support him in his journey. So he ended up playing tabla, reciting, singing, dancing, all at the same time. And it kind of developed into this really holistic practice of trying to maintain each aspect of the dance as a solo dancer. So it isn't traditionally a performance piece, but it's so innovative and such an amazing practice that all of us feel the need to share it and talk about it and of course do it all the time. To get started, I'll grab my harmonium here and, well, actually I want to do a little bit first. To kind of explain what I'm going to do before I do it, I want to just break down a little bit of the theory behind the Hindustani classical music that kind of complements Kathak dance, that is interwoven into the dance. So everything happens within the tal, or within the rhythmic cycle for the most part. And this rhythmic cycle, once it starts, it doesn't stop. It's kind of like a train. It can pick up momentum and go faster and faster and get more exciting, but once it starts, it can't be broken, can't be stopped. So this tal is the foundation of everything we do. And in Kathak, the most standard tal is teen tal. It's a 16-beat rhythmic cycle. So if you want to try and recite along with me, we're going to count the 16 beats on our hands. We're going to count the first 4 beats on our palms, starting palm to palm, pinky, ring, middle, and then fingertips, pinky, ring, middle, wave, pinky, ring, middle, and then the hand to the wrist, pinky, ring, middle. So it splits up our cycle into 4 groupings of 4. So I'm going to count the 16 beats for you first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1. So those are our 16 beats, and you're probably thinking, Carrie, like, what does this have to do with the dance? You're just, standing counting on your fingers. But really, this is the underpinning of everything that's going on. So at any moment, in any piece, at any time, you know exactly where you are within those 16 beats. So we have a set of bowls or syllables that actually accompany the language of the tabla, of the drum. And they also help mark the tal, the teen tal, the 16-beat rhythmic cycle. So I'll recite that once for you, and we'll start on 13. Te, te, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, dhin, dhin, dha, dha, dhin, dhin, dha, na, din, din, da, te, te, dhin, dhin, dha, dha. So this is the characteristic structure, the syllables that accompany the tal. On top of the tal, we have the lahara, or the nagma, or the melody. So I'm going to turn on my tampura, my drone here, to help set our pitch. There it is. And tonight I'm going to use a lahara based on Darbari Kannada. And this is a beautiful, beautiful melody. It has a heavy, regal, majestic feeling to it. And it relates back to the courts, where Kathak in its history got its refinement. Darbar is the Persian word for court. So it has kind of that sort of stately, regal feeling. So I'll go ahead and now I'll sing the melody accompanying the bowls. De de din, da din din, da de de da din din, da da din, da din din, da na din, da din din, da de de din, da din din, da de de da. So you see how the melody also reflects the rhythmic cycle. And you'll also notice that I always end on sum. Beat 1, this is the most important beat, and we'll get to a little bit more of that later. So now we have the rhythmic cycle and the melodic cycle. So what's left is the dance. So we start with our most basic primary footwork pattern of Kathak called Tatkar. It's an 8-step footwork pattern, and it uses alternating steps of the right and left. So it goes right, left, and left, right, left, right. 8 steps, right, left, right. So this 8-step footwork pattern now gets to be put into the rhythmic cycle in interesting and fun ways to practice. So you'll also hear me recite the bowls that represent Tatkar, and those are da, te, dat, ah, te, dat. So those bowls represent what I'm doing with my feet. Remember, they're different from the teka bowls or the rhythmic cycle. Da, din, da, din, da, na, din, da, de, din, da. So 2 sets of bowls, one for the rhythmic cycle, one for the footwork. And the rhythmic cycle stays the same. The footwork changes and can be malleable, doubled, tripled, and that's where the kind of experimental physical mathematics comes into play with Kathak. So now I'm going to add the harmonium so that I'm also playing the melody that I'm singing. It also frees up a little bit of what I can do with my recitation. Let me see if that's centered here. There we go. Okay, so the melody here on harmonium. So that is what the lehra, the melody, sounds like on the harmonium. So now the fun part is putting everything together. So I'm going to do a chromalaya, which means I'm going to start in a slow speed of the Tatkar and incrementally get faster. I'm going to play with the different ways I can do Tatkar and fit it into the 16-beat cycle. So I'm going to shout out things like 4 speed or 4 sets of Tatkar in a rhythmic cycle. So basically what that means is within the 16 beats, I'm going to do 4 sets of my 8-step footwork pattern, right? So that means I'm going to be stepping twice per beat. It gets really fun and exciting when you do speeds that don't correlate with the 4 steps, like 3 sets of Tatkar in 16 beats, 6 sets of Tatkar in 16 beats, 10 sets of Tatkar. All of these fun mathematical challenges. So also I should say before I start that part of Kathak yoga is about really pushing yourself. We call it Kathak yoga because it unifies so much of, our experience. It takes so much of our mind, takes our body and our spirit and our emotions. So the goal is to push yourself. So this is not something that is well polished and ready for the stage. It's more of a little bit of insight into what my practice is like here at home with Thomas and I during COVID, every day in and day out. But hopefully some fun things will happen and I won't get too far away from the thal, but it's kind of an experiment for both of us. So I'm going to start with some slow Tatkar and we'll see what happens after that. our Kamale Tatkar. You can see how it gets really fun, really fast. I'm just gonna hop over and check out the comments, see who's in here. Oh, so nice to see everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Like I said before, this is just such a thrill for me to kind of share my dance world with my music world and my music world with my dance world. And you know, from the outside, they may seem so different, but for me as a practitioner, they're like one and the same. Everything I do on the dance floor kind of helps and lifts up what I do as a trumpet player and as a singer, and vice versa. So it's really fun to have a chance to share it with you all and kind of let these worlds merge. This is, if you're just tuning in, this is Mama Magnolia's weekly live stream series, Tunesday. Each Tuesday you get to hang out with a different member of the band, maybe two if you're lucky, and kind of get to know what we're like outside of our music, outside of our band. So obviously we're doing Kathak dance today with me. We have lots of fun stuff coming up with all the different members. So stay tuned, check out our social media channels, follow us if you'd like, and if you like what we do, please share us with your friends and your family. That's one of the biggest ways to help out right now, is to just help us reach more people and find, you know, who we connect with and who connects with us. Okay, so let's see. Great, so we can do a little bit more, well, a lot more. We've just kind of gotten to the tip of the iceberg here. So we started with Tatkar, the basic footwork pattern of Kathak. But now what we can start playing with is the T-high. And a T-high is a composition, a rhythmic structure that takes one phrase and repeats it 3 times, ending on beat 1, that really important beat of our 16-beat cycle. So a T-high can be as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 being the phrase, that happening 3 times and landing on some. A T-high can also be much more complicated, and the pala, or the phrase, can be really, really long. So there's a whole variety, you know, just countless T-highs to play with and experiment with and learn. So I want to do some T-highs for you. And let's see. I'm going to start actually dancing them, and then we'll bring back the harmonium. This is a little bit of insight into what practice is like. Always trying to push yourself, do something new. So here are my majira. They are finger hand cymbals that we use in Kathak. Timekeepers, the great timekeepers. And usually our traditional pattern goes like this. Kind of marking each beat of our 16-beat cycle. So I'm going to do some of our Nattavari T-highs. These T-highs are a genius collection of T-highs where they each start on a different matra or beat of the 16-beat cycle and still end on some, on beat 1. So the first matra, the first beat T-high, starts on 1, goes through a cycle, and ends on 1. The second matra T-high starts on beat 2, but then ends on beat 1. Third starts on 3, kind of like if you were to look at the hands of a clock and follow it around. So it makes the mathematics a lot of fun. I'll show you what they're like with the manjira, also with some harmonium and maybe some dancing too. So we'll start with the first T-high, and I'll start by just reciting the bowls as I dance. So you know what to listen for. The phrase that I'm repeating is going to be digga 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 hey, digga 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 hey, digga 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 hey, digga 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 hey, digga 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 hey. That's the phrase, and that's what happens 3 times. So to show you just with the footwork, te te din da din din ta a, digga 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 hey, 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 digga 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 hey, 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 digga 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 hey, 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 digga digga. So So that's our Tihai. Now I'm going to play the Majira as I do it. And instead of reciting the bowls that I'm doing with my feet, I'm going to count the rhythmic cycle. I'll start by counting it in numbers. 13, 14, 15, 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1. And now I'll do it saying the takeables and singing our melody. Day, day, din, da, din, din, da, day, day, da, din, din, da, da, din, din, da, da, din, da, din, din, da, day, day, din, da, din, din, da, day, da. So you can see how all the different layers come together. Next, I will dance the choreography for you to show the movement. Day, day, din, da, din, din, da, day, day, da, din, da, din, da, din, day, 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 and finally, I will play it on harmonium and dance it. Day, day, din, da, din, din, da, day, day, da, din, din, da, da, din, din, da, da, din, da, din, da, day, day, din, da, din, din, da, day, da. So you can see all the different ways you can have fun with just one single composition. So I'm going to do a series of these. I'll do the first Matra Tihai and a handful of others. So look out to figure out which beat the Tihai starts on. You can keep track, or you can count along, and what the phrase is that repeats. I'll do some tatkar in between, so we have some time to enjoy each composition. So I'll start with this one more time. Day, day, din, da, din, din, da, day, day, da, din, din, da, da, din, din, da, da, din, da, din, din, da, day, day, din, da, din, din, da, day, day, da, din, din, da, da, din. Mali, not the right thigh highs. Just gonna check here. Great. So, let's see. Let me just check in here. Check this comment here. Oh, thank you all so much for tuning in. So many awesome friends. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much. You know, this is such a crazy time, and I don't know about you, but I'm definitely feeling the exhaustion of the isolation and just the difficulty of life right now. So I am so looking forward to seeing so many of you and hugging you and just enjoying time physically together more than I ever thought was possible. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you each in person so soon. Okay, so I'm going to finish up my presentation today with one more section of Kathak Yoga. And I'm going to stray away from our Tatkar pattern and have some fun with a different pattern called Takita Takita Dhena. And this pattern is really fun because you can displace the rhythm all sorts of ways. You can go Takita Takita Dhena, Takita Takita Dhena, Dhena Takita Takita Dhena, Takita 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 Dhena, Dhena Dhena Dhena, Takita 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 Ta. All sorts of combinations. So I'm going to play around with that, watch for my feet to see if you can catch the patterns, and then I'm going to end with a big T high, another T high that utilizes the different variations of our Takita Takita Dhena. So wish me luck. Here we go. Our Takita Takita Dhena series. De de din da din din da de de da. Namaskar. Thank you all so much for watching, for tuning in today. That is the conclusion of my live stream. And please tune in to Mama Magnolia's Tunesday next week. See what fun things we have coming down the pipeline. And also, if you want to head over to our Leela social media channels, check out what my Kathak dance life is like. Follow our dance collective, our Leela Academy, our educational programming. Take a workshop, get involved. I'm always looking to share Kathak with people. So thank you all again so much, and we'll see you next time.